we're going to be solving section 2.1 of Cells and Genetics, which is the first section included in your science periodic. The graph below shows the concentration of carbon dioxide increased between the years 1910 and 2010. By referring to the graph above, fill the blank with the year that should show the highest level of photosynthesis. Now, photosynthesis depends on factors that include when there is a lot of photosynthesis, obviously there should be bright sunlight because plants need the sunlight to actually make their own food. Now, it also needs warm temperatures. So warm temperatures. This is also another factor for better and higher photosynthesis. And the last factor would be high level of carbon dioxide. So here, high carbon dioxide. So let's see here. Carbon dioxide, it kept increasing between the years 19 and 2010. We can see that in the year 2010, it has the highest amount of carbon dioxide, right? And when there is a high amount of carbon dioxide, there is also a high amount of photosynthesis. So, the highest level of photosynthesis would be the highest level of carbon dioxide, which is the year 2010. Next question. Iodine solution is used to test for starch. If starch is present, then the solution should change to dark blue. So if the starch is absent, the color will stay orange-brown. So let's see. Circle the plants that contain starch. This is a really straightforward question. They said, if starch is present, then the solution changes to dark blue. So let's see which solutions change to dark blue. Cucumber, it stayed orange-brown, so there's no starch. Potato, on the other hand, it changed to dark blue, so the starch is present. Corn, also it changed to dark blue. Garlic and lettuce, they stayed orange-brown, so there's no starch. So once again, they clearly told us that if there is starch, the solution changes to dark blue. And which one changed to dark blue? The potato and the corn. Really straightforward. Chlorophyll is an important pigment used in photosynthesis. In which kind of cells can this pigment be found? Chlorophyll is inside the chloroplast, so that's the first thing. So inside chloroplast. And the chloroplast, it is used to capture sunlight. Now, chloroplasts, we know that they are found in plant cells, but they are actually found mostly in the leaf cells. Let's see why. If we have a plant right here, and those are the leaves, right? When the sunlight comes, it's not like the petals are going to absorb the sunlight or the roots, but it will be the leaves that absorb the sunlight. So if the leaves capture the sunlight, then obviously the chloroplast it's found in leaf cells. And if chlorophyll is found in the chloroplast, so the chlorophyll is also in leaf cells. Now let's see why the others are wrong. Fungal cells? No. This will be for fungi. Brain cells and liver cells are found in human cells and animal cells, but definitely not plant cells. So, once again, chlorophyll is found in chloroplast, which is mostly found in leaf cells. That's it. In which organelle is this chlorophyll located? Once again, in the chloroplast. A cactus is a plant usually found in deserts where the climate is very hot and dry during the day. How are the stomata of the cactus expected to be during the day? Now, what is the stomata? In the stomata, there are tiny openings. So there are tiny openings found in plant cells. So found in plant cells. Mostly leaf cells, but we know that cacti don't have leaves. So in general, we find them in plant cells. Now, the stomata, they are responsible for exchanging gases. For example, the stomata, it will let carbon dioxide in if the plants need to do photosynthesis, but it will take water vapor out. So take water or water vapor out. Now, this is when the stomata is open. This is the problem. In the daytime, we know that it's very hot in the desert and dry. So the cacti, they're definitely going to be needing their water. But if the stomata is open, the water's going to go out. They will lose all their water. This is really bad for the plant, so the cactus will die, right? This is why, since the cactus is found in the desert, right? The stomata, they are expected to be open during the night. So then it's more cold and it's fine if they lose a bit of water. This can be an exception. So once again, since it's very hot during the day, the stomata of the cactus, they can't let out the water. The cactus will die eventually. So in the day, the stomata will have to be closed so that the cactus doesn't quickly lose water. Most organisms that undergo photosynthesis are green. They use sunlight as a major source of energy. Underline the term that represents these organisms. Photoautotrophs. Let's see why. Photoautotrophs. Photo means light. So these organisms get their food from light energy. Right? Let's see. Chemoautotrophs. Chemo, chemicals. So they get their energy from chemicals. Now, heterotrophs, they eat other organisms. So they eat to get their energy. Right? So let's see. Also consumers. So, what organisms use sunlight as their major source of energy? Photoautotrophs, because photo means light. So they get their energy from light. Let's see here. Green plants use the sugars they produced through photosynthesis, right? Because what is the process when plants produce their sugars? The sugars they produced, they produce it through photosynthesis. Obviously, it's how plants make their own food. These plants are consumed by other organisms. Therefore, the non-photosynthesizing organism can use the sugars produced. Here, we're going to write sugars produced by these green plants as a source of chemical energy. So let's break this down. We know that plants make their sugars through photosynthesis. Straightforward. So if an animal eats a plant, wouldn't they get the same sugars that was stored by the green plant? Yes. And animals that eat those sugars, they get chemical energy, which is food energy basically. So, once again, green plants use the sugars they produce through photosynthesis for cellular respiration. These plants are consumed. So when they consume the plants, they're obviously going to get the sugars with them, and those sugars will give chemical energy so that the organism can function and survive. Arrange the sequence of the events that take place during photosynthesis. This we're going to have to break down step by step. Now, we have the starting materials of photosynthesis. So the starting materials: carbon dioxide and water. That's all you need to know for the starting materials. Finished. Now, what is produced by photosynthesis? So the products, we get glucose, which is a sugar. You need to memorize the chemical formula also, the scientific formula. So sugar is C6H12O6 and oxygen gas. And how do they do this? In the presence of sunlight. This is the formula for photosynthesis. Now, it is actually split into two stages. So let's just remove this here. Obviously, the first stage is that the plants are going to capture sunlight. It's what they need for photosynthesis. So chlorophyll, it's the pigment found in the chloroplast, absorbs energy from sunlight. This is the first stage. Now, this sunlight energy, you see H2O? This is water. It will split into hydrogen ions and oxygen. Right? Now, once again, for the first part of the first stage, the chlorophyll absorbs energy from sunlight, and the energy from the sun will split water to hydrogen and oxygen. Now, you see this oxygen here? This is the product of stage 1. That's it. Oxygen, gone. No more. And no more water. Now you see this hydrogen ion here? It will combine with carbon dioxide, right? But what happens before that, do you think? When the water split and we got a bit of energy from the sun, then the energy is produced, so we will power the second stage. Oh, 3. Now, when the hydrogen ions and carbon dioxide add up, they will finally form glucose, which is the sugar. So the cell uses the energy, hydrogen and carbon dioxide, to produce sugars. This is photosynthesis. So, once again, what do plants need? Sunlight. Stage 1. Using the sun, it will split water. And from the sunlight, you will obviously get a bit of energy to power the second stage. And the cell will use this energy with the carbon dioxide to make the sugars. Plants are photoautotrophs. Now, once again, photoautotrophs, they get their food from light energy. See here? On underline the process by which plants make their own food. We've been doing this for a really long time now. We should know that when plants make their own food, it is photosynthesis. During the day, photoautotrophs make their own food by a process called photosynthesis. They give you the answer here. Also, this process produces a sugar that supplies the photoautotroph with the energy at night. What is this sugar? Now, this is glucose, obviously. Stomata, we said, they're tiny openings. So, tiny openings. In the chloroplast, they capture sunlight with the chlorophyll, obviously. So, they capture sunlight. But which of these is the sugar, the glucose? So the sugar produced for chemical energy, it is called glucose. So that you need to know. So the sugar, once again, is the glucose. In which of the following organelles is most of Earth's oxygen produced? Now, Earth's oxygen, most of it actually comes from photosynthesis. Photosynthesis. Why photosynthesis? Why not cellular respiration? Why not any other process? This is because a product of photosynthesis is actually oxygen. Didn't we say that carbon dioxide and water gives sugar? Oh, C6H. Here, sugar and oxygen here. So obviously, most of Earth's oxygen, it will be produced through photosynthesis. Now, we know that photosynthesis starts when sunlight is captured. Which organelles capture the sunlight? The chloroplast captures sunlight. So, once again, most of Earth's oxygen is produced through photosynthesis. For photosynthesis, we need sunlight. What captures the sunlight? The chloroplast. Now, complete the chemical equation of photosynthesis using terms in the box below. So, let's write our normal equation. Carbon dioxide plus water in the presence of sunlight, so we can also write plus sunlight as they wrote here. We get glucose. We're gonna start saying glucose from now to get used to it. And oxygen. Now, here we need to do one more thing to make this the chemical equation. We're gonna add the number of molecules. We need 6 carbon dioxide molecules with 6 water molecules to produce sugar. Sugar, it's the only one without a 6, with 6 oxygen. Okay? So you only need to know the number 6, but glucose luckily has no number. So let's just fill in the blanks here. Sunlight energy, already. 6 carbon dioxide plus 6 water, here, 6H2O. We get glucose, you see here how there's no 6, and 6 oxygen gas molecules. That's it. This is the chemical equation of photosynthesis. Here. What are 3 examples of photoautotrophs? Photoautotrophs. Photo means light, So they get their energy from light energy. Obviously, the type of photoautotrophs that almost everyone should know, actually everyone should know, plants. They go through photosynthesis. They capture sunlight. Let's see. If you remember, quite a few questions ago, they said most photoautotrophs are green in color. So they're green in color. You see here? So obviously, what will it be? Green algae and green bacteria. Crickets and lizards, we call them heterotrophs. Heterotrophs. So in other words, they're just consumers. So they eat. Consumers. But which ones are photoautotrophs? Green algae, green bacteria, and plants. Which of the following best describes the starting materials and the end product of photosynthesis? Let's write down the equation again. So, carbon dioxide plus water in the presence of sunlight. So, sunlight. We get sugar and oxygen gas. So, let's start. What are the starting materials? Carbon dioxide and water. Let's see here. Carbon dioxide and water. They are the starting materials. And what are the end products of photosynthesis? Sugar and oxygen. Oxygen and glucose, which is the sugar. That's it. And this is what you need to know. So, the starting materials, carbon dioxide and water, the end products, oxygen and glucose. The magnified picture shows some starch granules found in potatoes photographed through a microscope. Which two statements are true about these starch granules? Now, granules, let's zoom out a bit. Oh, here. So, granules, they store glucose. So, they store extra glucose. Now, when you have many glucose molecules linked together, we get something called starch. Okay? So, plants, if like there's extra glucose that they can't use right now, they're not going to throw it away. They're going to build it up to form starch. So whenever they need it, they can just access it. So here, let's see. They are definitely not made of lipid molecules. We said they're made of glucose molecules. And do they help capture sunlight energy? No. This is for chloroplast and chlorophyll. They are the form in which extra sugars are stored. So when there's extra glucose, we store it in granules. This is correct. They are made up of glucose molecules linked together. We said glucose molecules together are starch. So do they also form starch? Yes. And they do not store water, obviously. So we know that starch granules store extra glucose and they are made of starch, which are glucose molecules linked together. And this is it for section 2.1 and best of luck in your science periodic.